What's up, crypto kids, blockchain, profit seekers, my friends? Coming at you for a little bit of this and that, a little crypto income report. Just going to go over the market and some different stuff going on and some stuff I wanted to go over and try to get these videos out a little more regular. Been just extremely busy with some real world business and all that good stuff, but don't think I haven't been, hours and hours a day here in DeFi and in the crypto world, trading bots, all that good stuff. So lots going on. A whole bunch is going on. Look at the Bitcoin price here, having a nice little show of support. Could, dip back down, whatever. Everything is probably, looking pretty green at the moment. Most of the things that we've been looking at and been into are pretty green. A lot of the node plays on Avalanche are down at the moment. Most of them. We have those been in the toilet lately. Vapor nodes down 12% today. Polar down, but still looking pretty strong from where it's been. PX2 is way down. I saw we got some new whales who have maxed out their wallets and are, in the process of selling. So we'll see where that price can go. I started holding off. I'm still compounding, but I held off on buying a little bit more and just waiting there. Playmates under pressure. A lot of good stuff under pressure. Mead looking pretty strong today. Mind way down. We haven't gone over Mind, so we still have to go over that soon. But heading back over to CoinMarketCap, like I said, the majors looking really strong. Luna is the only one down for the day, 2.71, which is interesting because they had some pretty major announcements going on. So let's go over that real quick. Do Kwon, who is our, the main guy. He is the creator, super genius behind Luna, the whole ecosystem. He's the guy, right? He's the big mastermind. Well, not long ago, there was this big bet which showed big giant balls because I just love the way it whole went down. So there was this guy on Twitter who came out and he's like, hey, I love Luna and all this and that, but willing to bet anyone $1 million that this narrative is not going to last, and the and the price of Luna will be in 1 year less than it is right now. Anyone want to take me up on the offer? And Do Kwon himself came out, took the bet. It ended up being like these guys had some sort of bet in the past. They went for like $10 million a piece. Half is going to donated to charity. And instantly Do Kwon said, okay, money's there and waiting. Go ahead and send yours in. And in 1 year's time or whatever the exact bet was, we will be cashing, So that's very interesting, that's shows a lot of balls, and that gives me a lot of confidence to definitely get into the Terra system a lot deeper and further and than I am. It's basically a big giant freaking stable coin, right? And I was saying not long ago that with coming regulations that we know are coming, right? We know the powers that be are coming with massive amounts of regulation. And so what they've done is basically, and I think, he basically knows the same thing, that with all the coming regulations for anything stablecoin related, anything dollars, to basically get Terra away from the dollar and being pegged to the dollar, or to that being the main, a stable coin from the dollar being a major part of their ecosystem. They've now decided to switch that over to BTC. They're buying like $3 billion, already have a BTC. They're going to be using that money from the treasury backed up by BTC to basically, back up the whole thing as their treasury reserve. Pretty cool. And, it's not like they'll be, they're going to be the game changers. They're going to be the road pavers. There's going to be a lot of people following this system where, Bitcoin really does become that digital reserve currency because all the other blockchains will be holding it. But not just that, banks will get in that. I don't know if you saw, but just today or yesterday, Goldman Sachs did the first Wall Street over-the-counter Bitcoin trade. So, like out in public. Obviously, they've been doing stuff behind the scenes for a long time, but that's pretty damn bullish all on its own. So Luna switching to BTC, and, not just the buy pressure that's going to come from that, but just the waves throughout the ecosystem that's going to have. It's pretty awesome. And, we realize, I think he realizes, like we realize, that there's some weird stuff going on, right? Because, with the regulation coming up, most of it was about like digital currencies and creating our own CBDC and, and we know that China is like doing all this stuff with their CBDC where they're, accepting oil payments, and they're pushing as hard as they can to make that, the big major player. So we're looking to, not lose rank in that space, but still, manipulate the hell out of everything, which is what we do as a, as a, as a country, as a dollar. So they see, like we see, that coming down the pike with all this regulation coming from that, Jim Rickards, who is, he was on the CIA payroll as an advisor for, currency wars and all this stuff. And he's wrote a book called Currency Wars, has a whole bunch of currency wars type of stuff. And I totally agree with him that we should have took SWIFT and the dollar off the table with all this war stuff and all this different stuff going on. We should have took that off the table and said, okay, that remains where it is and will function in some sort of wartime, real or fake or whatever it might be, outside of the financial system, and leave that reserve currency for what it is. Treat it like gold. Like it's not something you can basically go into someone's drawer and take. You can't control their dollars. You should just left that completely separate, because what they, having Jim Rickards on their payroll, in their ear, they know this, they know all this, so they know what they're doing with making, using the dollar as a weapon here and there. With India, they're going to do it to China. There's going to be all sorts of stuff, weird weaponizing of the dollar going on. That's going to eliminate the world reserve currency. All the benefits and stuff that we get from that, it's major, and taking us off of that is basically like removing the child from the nipple, right? It's going to be hard to not be the world reserve currency for sure. But, wars will happen. Hundreds, thousands of people will die before this ever happens. And we're seeing that in real time now. I think Terra, Luna, they see the same thing coming. So now switching over to the reserve currency backed by Bitcoin. And it sounds like the peg's going to be Bitcoin. That's major. That's huge. There's just a hell of a lot going on. Let's see. In El Salvador, we have Bitcoin bonds. 50% is going to go to like building the Bitcoin city, building the volcano, and 50% of whatever they sell for those Bitcoin bonds will go to in actual Bitcoin. This is probably the best bond of all time, and the IMF, of course, has come out and put on additional sanctions and spoke out against it, and they've been so harsh against El Salvador using Bitcoin, but it's done nothing but benefit them. Their GDP's up, they got increased travel, they have way more economic interest. But selling these bonds, our bonds are crap, right? They have just become, the bond market, the debt market in general is more of an indicator than a place to be. But this as a government bond, I think is going to be, it's going to be interesting. And I think that, them backing their treasury with Bitcoin, we have Luna doing the Bitcoin thing. I think banks are going to take on that trend. I think there's going to be a heck of a lot more trends where they're just absorbing Bitcoin. But okay, what else has gone out from news in there? Pulse Chain testnet is coming. It's out now, actually. The Pulse Chain testnet completely works, has 1 million transactions in the first 3 days. That's pretty dang crazy. When the real net comes out, it's going to be something else. See this one, Since Finance. These guys are moving over to AVAX. I think they're an interesting node play. Not sure that I'm getting into this one, but just the fact that they're moving over to Avalanche is interesting. And I saw some people commenting in their thing. They said, hey, you should just stay on Ethereum. This is an Ethereum-based treasury-backed protocol, right? And they're like, being that you are the very first, being that you're on Ethereum, just by being on here, you would be the first node protocol on Pulse Chain automatically. So, embrace that and don't run away from it, and don't move over to AVAX. I thought that was a pretty interesting little thing to say. So lots going on. Let's look at this real quick. Phantom Node Capital, that's a new one that's come out. And these guys are interesting. They actually do some stuff that I like. This isn't probably one that I would recommend or get into unless they rework their white paper. They do have a KYC. They do have some other stuff. But yeah, this is, I like the way that they come out every few days and they tell us, we just bought this, we burned this token, this amount of tokens, we bought these, we burned these tokens, we've done this. That's what you want to see. And, regular. But the problem is their white paper is not terribly well written. They don't have a good medium going. This Harmony nodes, I'd stay away from that one. That one is really good. I spent so much time digging through white papers and researching teams that it's getting crazy. But I think with the growing trend with so many node protocols just like jumping out, like there's just so many of them. Here's one here, Node Grid. And this Node Grid, if you go to their, we'll click on their little link tree here. These guys, what I will give them is they are super active. They have 2 faces out, but they don't have a lot of their stuff in the right order of what you would want to see in order to put actual money into it, right? Because so when you come here, they have a Discord that's pretty nice. It's popping. The Twitter, we were just at that. And then their white paper here. The white paper is okay. It has a couple, like if you go to the team, where is it here? Meet the founders. They currently have 2 founders docs, and it's like a picture. No LinkedIn, no last name, no none of that. Haven't really seen them like talk in AMAs. All that needs to happen before someone would drop cash in here, right? You just, at this point, you look like an old hype from back in the day where they just put up one or two founder, maybe he'd say a few things and they'd use his picture all the time and it'd be something that looked like this. I mean, now we have Wes, that's all we have. And this is called Node Grid. Now some other things that make this a bit of a, for me, like hands off, right? All right. Release of the website and white paper. We've got that. V1 contract and token release. That can't be your number 2 thing. Internal treasury initial in treasury investments. Yeah, you need that. But then after that, assure KYC docs founders. No, that needs to happen beforehand. Maybe you could do if you needed the money to pay for the docs, maybe. And then you could do that's why a lot of these companies come out with whitelists or whatever, so you can get that initial funding. But again, this is just cookie cutter stuff. If you're not bringing something new to the table, if you don't have something new going, you don't have some new approach or some DeFi experts we've never seen or tokenomics we've never seen, then there's not really that much going for, right? When you see these other node protocols that are advancing and moving into phase 2s, seeing these cookie cutter ones that aren't integrating at all or changing anything coming about, it's not impressive, right? The Horde is going to launch tomorrow. That's pretty cool. They have this pre-sale thing going on. That's probably over. If I click on that, it should disappear. Yep, pre-sale disappeared. I did get in on that, but you can probably actually get cheaper during the thing. But these guys have interesting stuff going, and it's like a game. It's got a real game. So let's talk about games real quick. So the game space has been when it was just like OXY, and so, even before that, like eggs and some chickens, and you harvest this and move this over there. And to me, it was always like, well, what's the point? Why not just have standard DeFi stuff and look like grown-ups instead of playing these chicken games or these chicken coop games or these egg games that were, or these different harvest farmer games that there wasn't really a game involved. You just kind of hid behind a gaming aspect. But now that there's real games that are launching, none of them are out yet. There's not one real freaking game out that you would come over and say, I want to play that. I want that on my console. I want to play that all the time. The closest to it is OXY's new game, or even the game with the cards, and they got a new game coming out. There's a lot of good stuff coming from OXY. Kribata is probably the biggest game it is the biggest game on Avalanche, and it is coming out with, a basic battle mode or whatever. But basically these things, they go down the avenue of you create, your tokenomics, you get your characters, you get all your NFTs, and you need all that stuff. But the gameplay has not been in place, right? But now there's real games with that you would want to play that were they'll be good enough to play on your Xbox One that you're oh, that's a sick game. And they're coming, and a lot of them they're kind of, hybrid versions, right? They might, and one that I'm really interested in, the mech game, which I'm going to be getting into a lot more. You can see a lot more videos coming from that. And, as investments. Why? Because that's where the money is. But it didn't seem, it just seems like a facade. I mean, yes, some of these games are fun, until the technology evolves to the point where you can have real games that everyone wants and they're unique and they're amazing. Well, that's here. That's now it's time to be getting involved in that stuff. And so we are going to be pivoting a little bit towards that. It's going to be a lot of bots. I got some Bitsgap videos coming very, very soon. So we are making a slight pivot towards games, but, mainly as NFT investments because, like the Ape coin. I think Ape coin is fantastic. I think it's, a lot of people are comparing it to a meme coin, and, it's got way too much going on to be calling it a meme coin. Maybe a meme coin that is like way down the avenue, right? But because of these node protocols, and that was like a good avenue, a lot of them are bridging into games. You have your Play2Earn games, and then there's also Gala games, and there's these different things where they have like the node system built in, but then there's also the game, right? And that system is going to see people get paid, and I think that's the way to go for the coming future. When you have like an actual game and they're taking money, they have, through some way, whatever it be, for, it doesn't have to be a tomb fork, it doesn't have to be a node, but they're collecting some sort of treasury that's actually feeding them additional income revenue from outside sources. You got that crossed with a real game, crossed with real NFTs and a secondary marketplace. Maybe they got a farm built in or whatever it is, but it's one of these things that's going to have like a whole bunch of gears and mechanisms holding something up, but have a real game and real DeFi built in. That is probably, the future for where a lot of this play to earn space, the node space, and, large flows of money in general. So Kribata, great game, great way, it's not a great game. It's a terrible game, but it's going to be a great game. They got a battle mode coming. They got all sorts of stuff, but it is a good play and is a great way to earn some serious, sick income. And, like Louverture, a lot of their money that they make like $300,000 a month is from Kribata. And, you could just come over here and get into it yourself. So a lot of these plays that are doing the NFTs, I think, are really cool because you can trade the NFTs, the financial NFTs, and they're more than JPEGs. So I got a lot of other stuff I want to talk to you about, but we're going to cut this video short here or it will just be too long. So quick little, just kind of general mindset. Going to be getting into some different, still be doing the bots, still going to be doing nodes, still going to be doing a lot of DeFi, still going to be major phantom beats, all that good stuff. But, not going for the major risk plays when there is huge APRs, huge money to be made doing some serious plays, like your Kribatas, your better nodes. The reason I go through all the nodes, I spend so much time, and there is some very, very good nodes coming. Etherstones is fantastic. Aleph Finance is coming. Valley-Fi is fantastic. Emerald nodes launched in a few days. That one's awesome. Europa, great team out front. You can see them all. Spartan Capital, they don't even have a coin. They're doing like a lava finance thing where you have like you're getting paid in revenue. Comb is starting to move to a revenue. Of course, Hive, probably the biggest and most well-known and eagerly awaited node play in the entire space is coming. They're coming out and will be a founding member of the Union of Transparency even at the beginning of their launch. Pretty awesome. Also, I think that Mead, like that whole thing, like they blew up. So Horde is a good one. That one's coming, and it has a game that they're building, and these ones are basically keeping the price pegged low so that the income, you're not earning off of the coin going up. You're earning just everyone, no matter when you get in, you're earning off the price of this going. So the one that I was going to talk about real quick, also Etherstones, I mentioned that one. That one is going to be big. It's going to be awesome. Mech game, another game I think is really big that's going to be coming is Outer Ring. I know I'm just throwing all this stuff at you, but all this I will be talking about in much more detail. But let's go stop at the Tavern real quick. This is the Tavern. What happened here is very interesting is the launch blew up. I didn't get in on like the pre-sale or anything like that. I actually bought near the top, but I'm DCing in. These guys have a lot of different ways to earn here, including like, you know, a place to stake and earn some pretty sick APY. It's like at 800% or something. I'm not sure if I'm on AVAX. Let's get on Avalanche real quick. Avalanche. See, at 913 APR, I am planning to be loading this one up with some different profits. And so, you know, the way I work a lot of these is I come over to your DEX tools, and I have all of my different chains on different watch lists, and on my AVAX chain, whatever is down the most, that's what I buy into. I sell most everything else off or compound into it. I'm doing generally 50-50 compounds on everything, but on the profits that I pull, when it's time to pull profits, I take those and I generally sell them into what is down. So mead, that's what I'm looking to build up more. So of course it's up, but you know, it was way up and now it's dropped down, and it could actually boost up from here. They have a lot of utility. This one is new, so I am looking to build this one up. And what's really impressive about this was the instant market cap of 19 million. They were up higher than that. That's pretty big. I mean, that's bigger than than Playmates already. That's bigger than Red Light Nodes, and Red Light Nodes is one of the bigger, badder plays out there. They're already bigger than that right out of the gate, so that's pretty damn bullish there. PX2 also has a nice market cap of 14 million. Now, if you look at some of these other ones, smaller node plays, you got to think they're a little risky, right? 2.4 million for polar nodes. That's why you don't see me talking about that one a lot. I like it. I get paid out of there. It's working great, but that is a pretty small market cap to regularly sell into. Vapor nodes, you're up at a $32 million market cap. Now that's what you're talking about, right? That gives you a lot of buy, a lot of sell. They have a lot going on. They are, you know, they own a Bored Ape. So with the ApeCoin and everything going on, Bored Ape is actually one of the most amazing things. It's become like, you know, if you bought a Bored Ape, it's actually the greatest investment of all time, right? Just in this new airdrop, and in all the airdrops you've gotten, you've made the money back from your ape so many times, even if you bought it at the top. But it also gets you into like a club, right? All you basically have to do is like prove you have an ape, and anyone will talk to you. They come to you for advice. They think you know things. They think you're on top of the NFT market. You could become counselors and advisors simply by owning an ape. Like, that's how much prestige it gives you. So, you know, the fact of what they built, what they got going, I think ape token is fantastic. And like I said, I'll be getting into a bot of that. All right, now I'm definitely cut this thing short, or we'll be here all night. I got a lot more stuff coming your ways, guys. Stick with me and catch you on the next one. I'm out.